What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logistical Styles coming at you with another video. And today we are in the studio talking a little bit about some updates and upgrades in my whole DJ setup. So recently, very recently, I was just gifted a hand-me-down from my boss. And this is why I say I love having a 9-to-5 job, because especially working in IT, because sometimes you come across some really good fringe benefits. And one of them for me this week was getting a hand-me-down iPad Pro, 13-inch iPad Pro, M2 chip, 1 terabyte of storage, and cellular connection from my boss. He handed it down to me because he's a big Apple head and he loves all new things Apple, and he got the newest, latest, and greatest and thinnest iPad from Apple that they just released. Now, this was actually a great thing. It was actually kind of funny because I think I mentioned recently in the past few months, I did upgrade my iPad Air to what was at that time the latest version, but then just now a new one came out. So I really could have held off and not upgraded my iPad, just waited, and I would have got this upgrade for free. But anyway, this has changed my opinion on how much I'm going to be using Algorithm DJ Pro to DJ with. And the reason I say that is because now it allows me the amount of storage, 1 terabyte allows me to have all the music that I have on my MacBook Pro is now on my iPad. So now I'm just using my MacBook Pro really to organize playlists sometimes, because it's easier to do it on that much bigger screen, and I'm using it to maybe, I don't know, practice some ideas, or if sometimes I do prefer Serato under certain circumstances. But now this has really changed my viewpoint on how much I'm going to be using DJ Pro, because it's just so much more convenient to use it on this iPad. And people ask, they're like, well, with the keyboard and with the screen, the bigger screen, doesn't it seem almost like you're using a laptop? And in a way, yes, it does, but also in a way, no, it's still different. Mainly, I'm happy because I'm able to utilize Neural Mix, which I was able to do on my last 2 iPads. They were both good enough to use Neural Mix, but they just didn't have the space. But now I can use it without any question or any hesitation. It's been working wonderfully. I've hooked it up to my my Rain 70 and the Denon LC 6000. I'm actually going to use that setup tomorrow because I'm doing a pool party. It's Memorial Day weekend, so gigs are coming up. So I'm going to be using that setup tomorrow, but I think I'm going to be using DJ Pro a lot more, especially with like some of the portable controllers, like my Rev 1. I always carry the Newmark DJ to Go to Touch, but it's just so convenient to be able to pull this out and have your music there, and then the added plus of having the cellular plan added to it. So now I can stream without any hesitation, and it's going to be like, how much am I going to be streaming? I don't know, because I have my whole library with me now. But for requests and stuff that I don't have, I can pretty much stream confidently without having to always worry about connecting my iPad to my phone's hotspot. And that's always been a blessing and a curse, because my job also provides me with a second cell phone. So I usually have 2 cell phones on me. One's a T-Mobile and one's a Verizon. So they're both iPhones, but different networks. So it gives me more chances to be able to have reception when I go to certain areas. Sometimes T-Mobile doesn't have any reception where Verizon might, or vice versa. But at least now having it built into the iPad, that makes things so much more easier. And I can also see, and I was also looking at it from my photo booth business aspect as well. I can see why people kind of like the iPad Pro for a photo booth, but then I also think that it's a little bit overkill. I mean, it's nice to have that big screen, but I feel like the iPad Air and the regular size iPads are good enough for photo booth purposes. So what I'm going to end up doing is I gave my iPad Air to my wife, and she gave her iPad to our daughter. So I'm gonna get a separate dedicated iPad for the photo booth business, and it's gonna be just a regular. I think the 10th generation iPad is what's out now, but it's crazy, because I really don't want to have to buy another MacBook Pro. If I do buy another MacBook Pro, it's going to be something that's just because my current one, which is a 2013, because that died for whatever reason. But what I'm doing now is I'm keeping a backup of a time machine backup of the MacBook, and I use iTunes to sync up the playlist and everything on the iPad. Now, just getting into the transferring of the iPad from one iPad to another, that was a whole ordeal in itself, and that's something I really want to get into, because there were some things I came across that you might want to be mindful of when you're trying to transfer music from one iPad to another iPad, especially if you're using DJ Pro. So what I did was, when you open up Apple products, you put them next to each other, and they, over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, whatever, they transfer the data from one to the other. They try to make it as seamless as possible. And for the most part, it was pretty seamless. But when I went into DJ Pro on the new iPad, I noticed that certain playlists had songs grayed out, or a lot of songs grayed out. They just were not showing. And I noticed that it was the songs that I had created, or the playlist that I had created in the DJ playlist, not my iTunes playlist or my title playlist. Those are fine, but the songs in the playlist I made in DJ's playlist, and those playlists specifically are the ones that I copied over from my Serato crates on my MacBook Pro. Now, I did a video about this, and I demonstrated how I did it. So if you want to know more about that, you can refer to this video, and I'll show you how I used a flash drive to copy those crates over to my Files app on the iPad, and then each crate I then made a playlist of in DJ Pro. Now, those playlists, they were grayed out, so what I ended up having to do was recreate that playlist. Or something I didn't think about, because I had each of those playlists as folders in my Files app, all I had to do was delete the songs from those individual playlists and then re-import them from the Files playlist. Now, that may sound very confusing, especially if you don't have that in front of you and you don't really follow my workflow, but it was a tedious process, because I have 60 crates that I copied from Serato into DJ Pro, and I had to, for the first, the majority of the time, I was just deleting the crate, recreating a crate with that name, and then importing those songs from Files into there to redo it. It wasn't until I got towards the end of the last 10 crates or so that I realized all I needed to do was delete the contents of the crate. I didn't have to delete the crate and then recreate it. So that's one thing you might want to think about if you even do this workflow. But if you just work with your iTunes playlist, everything transferred over with no problem. I'm not one of those people that have a huge library of music. I think 25,000 songs is more than enough to have as your main library, especially if you curate it and you pick and choose those songs and not just pull in, hard drive dumps from other DJs. So that was a really good learning experience. So now I know how to manage those song files, especially when you're using the playlist within DJ Pro. But this also taught me that I'm gonna lean back more onto using iTunes playlist to manage my music, because it's just easier for me to do it on the Mac, sync it up over the cable, and then everything is the way I set it up. I wish it was a more easier way of getting this done, because maybe I want to use my iPhone to DJ and I want to sync those playlists up. So I wish I didn't always have to involve the MacBook to do that. But I'm very excited. I'm going to be doing, like I said, I have a gig tomorrow. So tomorrow will be my first gig. It's a 5-hour gig, but it's a pool party. So pool parties are less formal and yeah, low pressure. And I'll also be using my wireless battery powered system tomorrow as well. So I'll give you a gig report on that. And I'll have the Denon LC with me as well. So I'll be using a lot of gear that I don't normally use on mobile gigs. Trying not to lean too much on the Rev 1. I mean, it's a great controller, but I do have other gear that I need to be putting to use. Otherwise, I may end up selling it. But anyway, this is just a quick update. Let you know what I'm excited about, what I'm going to be doing, and what might be the topic for some future videos. So if you want to be notified when they come out, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and comment below. If you use a large iPad and have been doing it for a while, are there any drawbacks should I be looking for? Let me know in the comments. But until next time, it's your boy Logistical Styles, and I am out. Peace.